Just before dawn, Ukraine uncovered something Russia desperately hoped would stay hidden: an underground ammunition fortress buried so deeply that even many Russian troops didn't know it existed. What followed wasn't a routine strike. It turned into a precision attack that engulfed an entire installation in flames within minutes. Tonight, we break down how Ukraine discovered it, how they hid it, and why this single operation may influence the war more than any missile strike to date. In those final quiet minutes, before sunrise, when battlefields settle and drones struggle to detect motion, Ukraine launched one of its boldest intelligence missions yet. The success of the mission depended on skill, perfect timing, instinct, and a bit of luck. It unfolded entirely in darkness, and Russia had long believed it was impossible for such a mission to be carried out. That pre-dawn window, the moment between the last breath of night and the first touch of daylight, is when both armies finally slow. Troops rest, drones return to recharge, and radar units fight fatigue. It's one of the rare moments when the war seems to pause. And that's precisely when Ukraine made its move. At 4:13 a.m., something unusual appeared. Ukrainian reconnaissance teams monitoring encrypted Russian channels intercepted a burst of radio chatter unlike anything they had heard before. The tone was urgent, the messages clipped and stressed, the kind used when something is failing or extremely sensitive. But the real shock wasn't the content itself. It was the source of the signal. It wasn't a known Russian base. It wasn't a checkpoint or a command post, and it certainly wasn't a documented ammunition site. The signal originated deep inside a dense forested area Russia had never mapped, listed, or acknowledged as a military location. Within minutes, Ukrainian analysts recognized the magnitude of the discovery. The signal was too strong to be mobile, too complex to be from a passing vehicle, and too shielded to be accidental. There was only one conclusion: Ukraine had stumbled upon a massive, unreported Russian ammunition depot one Moscow believed was invisible. This was the kind of depot satellites rarely detect, hidden beneath camo nets and surrounded by decoys. It was protected by jamming equipment and buried under layers of secrecy. This wasn't ordinary storage. It was a nerve center supplying entire Russian offensives. Inside were the lifelines of Russia's war effort: artillery shells, glide bomb parts, drone stockpiles, vehicle fuel, launcher equipment, electronics, spare parts, and high-grade explosives. Ukraine hadn't just found a depot, they had uncovered a core artery of Russia's logistics network. And although the discovery happened by chance, everything afterward was intentional. Within an hour, analysts, drone teams, and commanders scrambled into action. There were no announcements, no alerts, and no public signs of activity. Every decision was made silently because time was slipping away. If Russia realized the depot was exposed, they would evacuate staff and move stockpiles, costing Ukraine the opportunity forever. From that point on, a routine scan became a race against dawn to confirm, expose, and destroy one of Russia's most hidden assets. Thermal drones launched under cover of darkness. Satellite feeds were redirected, and listening posts activated. Commanders debated strike paths and the risks involved. Everything depended on remaining silent, and everything depended on speed. As the first drone imagery arrived, shapes began to emerge: fuel containers lined in rows, ammunition crates stacked high, vehicles parked beneath heat-absorbing roofs, and mobile launchers hidden behind trees. There was no longer any doubt. Ukraine had found a concealed logistics hub capable of supplying thousands of troops. The radio signal that started everything had exposed a major Russian vulnerability. And Russia had no idea their secret site was compromised. Ukraine now had a shrinking window to destroy the depot before dawn revealed their drones. For months, Russian forces had been quietly funneling supplies through the same forest corridor in western Luhansk. From above, the region looked untouched: dense trees, no visible buildings, and no clear military activity. Satellite photos showed nothing but clean forest canopy covering everything below. But appearances were misleading. Russia had heavily invested in concealment. They used camouflage nets matching the forest, heat-absorbing roofs, decoy buildings, and layouts designed to fool satellites. To Moscow, this wasn't just hidden, it was a ghost base, silent and unreachable. But Ukraine never accepted the illusion. Something felt wrong. Patrol patterns didn't line up, soil looked disturbed, and civilian activity was strangely absent in an area supposedly farmland. Small irregularities formed patterns only experienced intelligence officers would notice. Trucks disappeared into the forest and reappeared hours later, as if emerging from another world. Thermal hotspots appeared where no structures officially existed. Russian troops blocked pathways without explanation. By the time the unusual radio chatter crackled at 4 a.m., everything suddenly made sense. This wasn't coincidence or routine. It was a clue, and Ukraine followed it. Within 40 minutes, Ukraine deployed its night vision drone fleet designed to glide under radar and slip through jammers. Their cameras cut through fog and darkness. What appeared on the screens stunned seasoned operators. Shapes materialized: droves of fuel tanks, stacks of ammunition, and vehicles idling in darkness. The forest wasn't empty at all. It was concealing an entire logistical city. Drone analysis and intercepted communications revealed the true scale. More than 1,700 tons of shells, bombs, drone parts, electronics, and enough fuel to power two brigades for weeks. This was far more than a depot, it was the backbone of Russia's offensive. Destroying it wouldn't just eliminate ammunition, it would cripple Russian advances. It would force rationing, slow assaults, and possibly trigger retreats. But striking it carried major risks. It sat deep behind enemy lines, surrounded by defenders and jammers. A loud or mistimed strike could fail or alert Russian forces. Ukraine had only one chance and no possibility of repeating the attempt. By 5:12 a.m., Ukrainian command assembled a specialized strike group, stealth drones, HIMARS rockets, and special forces spotters. This combination wasn't random, it was a coordinated kill chain. Then Ukraine made their boldest decision: target the fuel tanks first, not the ammo crates or vehicles, the fuel. Fuel burns hot and fast, causing chain reactions that ignite everything around it. One hit could destroy thousands of tons of munitions and all regional fuel reserves. But extreme strategy carried extreme dangers. Russian air defenses were alert, jammers active, and radar crews awake. If the drones were detected, the mission would collapse instantly. So, Ukraine waited. They hovered silently beyond radar range. Engines whisper quiet, timing their strike for the moment Russian alertness dipped. Shift changes, fatigue, and deep darkness created that perfect second. At 5:27 a.m., with dawn minutes away, the command was given: begin descent. Drones tilted forward and glided just above the treetops. They wove through fog like phantoms as spotters confirmed alignment and HIMARS crews locked coordinates. The operation balanced on a razor's edge. When the depot came into view, fuel tanks, explosives, and sleeping crews appeared on screen. The first strike drone locked onto the silver tanks. It released its payload, followed by a breath of silence. Then a colossal explosion erupted upward, turning night into blinding daylight. A shockwave tore across the region, shaking buildings miles away. Civilians thought a massive attack had begun. Soldiers described it as a sunrise made of fire. But the destruction had only begun. The fuel tanks exploded outward, slamming into ammunition crates. Crates detonated in rapid succession. Artillery shells cooked off, mortar rounds burst, and rockets shot into the forest like flaming spears. Fuel trucks turned into rolling fireballs. Heat signatures overwhelmed Russian radar. Within minutes, the entire depot became an uncontrollable inferno. HIMARS rockets then rained down, striking fleeing vehicles, command tents, and hidden bunkers. Trucks erupted, storage pits collapsed, and debris rained like volcanic rock. Russian radio channels fell into chaos. The base is gone, and everything is burning. Reinforcements rushed in, but there was nothing left to save. By the time they arrived, the site was already destroyed: molten metal, craters, ash, and charred earth were all that remained. Trees stood as blackened skeletons. Vehicles had melted into metallic pools. By 6 a.m., the operation was over. The sun rose over a place that no longer existed. Ukraine hadn't just found a hidden depot, they erased it before breakfast. This wasn't just an explosion, it was a strategic earthquake. Ukraine didn't just burn fuel and ammo, they severed a major artery of Russia's war machine. Russia lost ammunition it can't quickly replace, including rare munitions sourced through covert routes. Ukrainian troops immediately noticed reduced shelling on the front lines. Soldiers described it as someone turning down the volume of war. Russia's invisible depot strategy was exposed, turning every hidden site into a potential target. Morale shifted. Ukraine celebrated while Russia spiraled into confusion and blame. Ukraine proved its intelligence network had evolved dramatically. Radio interception, pattern tracking, drone recon, and precision artillery all worked together flawlessly. As Rachel Maddow put it, Ukraine didn't just destroy a depot. They destroyed Russia's confidence in secrecy. Now Russia must confront a new reality. If Ukraine could find this, what else can they uncover? Make sure you subscribe for more in-depth frontline breakdowns. Your support helps the channel and keeps you updated on every major development.